everyone. I'm Madison Farganis, and today we're going to cover different topics, which will be the unemployment rate in the economy, the current rate of economic growth, and current rate of inflation in the economy, and also current account for the US right now. So, the first topic I'm going to cover is the unemployment rate in the economy. This means that when there's a high unemployment rate, basically there's just a slowdown in the economy and economic activity, which could be due to a lot of things. One being external shocks, reduced consumer demand, and decreased business investment. A low employment rate usually means just a robust economy, which means a lot of businesses are hiring and expanding. And if the current rate is high or low, it means that the labor market is either performing well or it's not performing well, basically. The next topic I'm going to cover is economic growth. This is measured by GDP, which is known as gross domestic product. This basically is just the overall value of goods and services that are produced in a country. So a positive GDP would mean that the economy is expanding. So more employment and more consumer spending and production. And a negative GDP would mean recession. So the rate of growth matters because a healthy rate means that it would lead to job creation and it wouldn't trigger inflation. So if we identify whether the economy is expanding or experiencing recession or recovery, the health of that growth will tell us the economic trajectory and the future of the economy. The next topic I'm going to talk about is the inflation rate. So inflation refers to the rate that levels of prices for goods and services is rising. So a moderate rate of inflation just means it's healthy for the economy, and it can encourage spending and investment, but not necessarily. And if inflation is low, then it would lead to deflationary pressures, which would be bad for economic activity. And if inflation is too high, then it erodes the purchasing power of consumers and businesses, which would lead to economic instability. Of situations where inflation is high or low, the Federal Reserve in the US would interfere with this and adjust the interest rates. The next topic I'm going to talk about is the current account for the US. So this reflects a nation's transactions with the rest of the world. So this means that a deficit in the current account means that a country is importing more goods and services than it's exporting. So this would mean that it's a net borrower for the rest of the world. And a surplus is the opposite, so it's exporting more than it's importing. So it would be a net lender. And whether it's a deficit or surplus, this could mean it's good or bad or even neither. It would mean that there's underlying reasons for the imbalance and the overall economy. So if there's a deficit in a rapid growing economy, it might be acceptable because it's financing productive investment. So with all the topics I covered, concluding all those topics, unemployment, GDP growth, inflation, and the current account, it kind of just is like an overall like view of like the current economic climate. So all of these factors would offer like insight for dynamics of production, consumption, employment, and international trade. And all of this basically just shows that the economy is like, if the economy health is good and thriving, or if it's like not good and facing challenges. And overall, these factors just allow for. Thank you guys for listening.